I've received this question quite a bit over the last few months, and I have been told if several people are asking, that probably means more people are thinking about it. And I think what better way than to make an episode so that it can hopefully serve the masses even more. And that question is, in fact, I will read the most recent one to you. And it basically has to deal with like how did I get to where I am? And I know I did a episode about like how I got here in my journey, but it's more than that. It's more of how did you learn? Like where did you learn these integrative approaches or holistic? Because it is not commonly taught. And this question came from a vet student and or pre-vet. And she said, my chances of making it into a program are pretty good, which I think is so exciting. Because I remember too, also being in that pre-vet senior moment of, am I going to apply? Am I going to make it? And to have that confidence that you're going to make it is such a peaceful feeling. And she said, I was wondering if you have any advice to give as someone interested in practicing holistic veterinary medicine head into vet school. Obviously, what is taught in vet school is very Western modern medicine and sometimes sponsored by pet food brands. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so, what I do want to say is that while I graduated over 11 years ago, is that personally for me, I can't talk about everyone's vet school experience, whether you were in school when I was before or after. What I can say is what it was like for me is that we did have some pet food companies on campus that gave us discounts because we were in school, we weren't working. Some of us were literally rubbing pennies together to try and buy lunch. And so I saw it as a way that we could feed our dogs nutrition while receiving a discount. I don't feel that I was swayed in recommending those foods personally. Was I more familiar with them? Yes, but I will say that is not what ever swayed me to recommend them. And I didn't always recommend those foods because I always believed in patient care first and having the foods fit for the patient rather than the patient's fitting for the food. And so I don't know what it's like right now. And so that's what I can say on that. And so I think it's a great topic because more and more people are getting interested, pet owners and even industry, and including industry is veterinary technicians, veterinary students, veterinarians on integrative and holistic approaches because there are such success cases, and it kind of like raises your eyebrows. It kind of perks your ears, and you're like, what is going on? I haven't learned about it. And I want to say there is a time and a place for Western, modern, traditional conventional medicine. And I actually almost want to remove the word modern because modern can be integrative and holistic. And so there is a place for it. Absolutely. I think it's really it comes down to is knowing when to balance the scales on when you have to lean into one versus the other and how you can use one versus the other to amplify whichever one you're using. And so I think we're realizing that conventional medicine isn't the only answer. It can be a great answer, but sometimes some pets need more. Sometimes pet owners want more and they want more tools. And so they're desiring longevity. They're desiring to be proactive rather than reactive. And so it's creating this curiosity. And so I'm going to talk about my own journey and not my own journey, like how I got here, because I've already done an episode on that, but kind of like how I came across these things so that if this is an interest in yours, you know, like where do I reach and what is credible? And so I started with very conventional training. I mentioned that in vet school, and most vet schools are, and out of practice, and that is okay. I started to notice over time, and I talked about this in the episode where it was like my almost like my origin story episode of I realized with my own health what was missing, and conventional just wasn't hitting it. I had tried, I'd given it a chance and was like, you know what, it's just not as good as I feel like it can be. And so I went the integrative approach, I went the functional approach. And when you start seeing it, you're like, okay, you kind of like the snowball evolves in a really good way. And so the first steps I took, and so these are maybe some options, are I went through the Chi University food therapy in 2021, I believe it was 2021. Maybe it was 2022. I think it was 2021. And that was a really good way to help me kind of help look at food differently for my patients. I was really curious about it. I saw the movement happening with pet parents with wanting to cook for their food, cook for their pets. I saw it. And so I was like, I want to be on this movement because I believe in it. And so looking at education and training programs is, I think, and I'm going to list a few of them, could be a good option. And I think explore to see, is it an option? Does it align with what you're wanting to learn and how you want to learn? So formal training by like Chi University, they're out of Reddick, Florida. They do a lot of Chinese medicine. They offer acupuncture. They offer rehab. They offer food therapy. They offer herbal medicine. So they offer a lot of variety. And I think what often happens with a lot of us that have this strong pull to integrative or holistic is we start with one. Maybe it's acupuncture. For me, it was food therapy. And then you get into this realm more and more, and you're even more curious about herbs. You're even more curious about acupuncture, even more curious about fecal transplants. You just become even more exposed and even more interested, and you hear about these cases that were struggling and how this helped them, and you've seen what has been helped by these maybe non-traditional alternative approaches that are really synergistic with conventional medicine. Shorter programs and certifications, other places to look, College of Integrative Veterinary Therapies. They offer great webinars. They offer great certifications. They offer a wide variety of different topics that are really valuable, that are done through e-learning. They offer acupuncture. There are nutrition-focused organizations, Feed Real Movement. I have gone and I've done one of their food certification programs. There are other companies, and such as Standard Process, RX Vitamins. Those are other ones, and they offer their own CE sometimes as well. There are conferences. In fact, I just got back. I really want to do an episode on, got back from the American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association conference. Another great place. It was my first time going, and it was really funny. They had these little stickers on the badges. In fact, do I have mine? I may even have mine right here, where they have, yes, they do. They have these little badges that say first time attendance right here. And so that was my first time attending. It was the 40th anniversary. There's veterinarians there who've been going for a very long time. And I think it's great. You get to connect and collaborate with like-minded. And it doesn't mean if you're going to these conferences that you have to believe in everything. It doesn't mean you have to implement everything. I believe in a lot of it. Some of it, I'm like, I'm open to it. I just don't know about it, but I think it's really intriguing. I went for the food aspect and found myself in other lectures and herbs and detoxing that I was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more. I wish I could replicate me just to learn more about this, and hearing the cases and hearing other colleagues talk and going to the exhibit hall and meeting other people and talking, and how is this product different than this product, even though it's about to be this is similar. There are holistic tracks sometimes at big vet conferences, or more integrative, I would say, when they offer food. And here's the thing. Even though I look at food in an integrative, holistic approach, it's like, let's be less processed as possible. Let's be as natural as possible. I also like immersing myself in conventional trainings to also see what is being said on that side, so that I can be well-rounded to be like, okay, this point has been made on the conventional, traditional side. It's accurate. I agree with it. How can it blend well with integrative or holistic, and vice versa? I think it's great to know both aspects, to know both, especially as a practitioner, to be able to have those conversations with very traditional, conventional pet owners, that they don't feel cut off because the only information that I am exposing myself to is holistic and integrative, and vice versa. I think it is good to be able to be exposed to both, take both in. That way, when there is a trend happening or something going on in the industry, you are familiar with it and you are educated on it. Whether you agree with it or not, you are educated on it to make those recommendations, make those discernments, have those conversations. There are self-study. You can look at PubMed. There are books. Oh, to name a few of mine. The Forever Dog. There's a mushroom for that. The Canine Herbalist. Those are some that I find myself reading and highlighting and taking notes on. And there's even more on that. Dr. Jill just came out with a book about ozone. I mean, there's so many. I'm right now currently September 2025 in a mastermind of other veterinarians learning more about ozone and fecal transplants, sedation-free fecal transplants, because it's something I want to offer to my patients. And so a lot of this too, and this is a little bit non-traditional, is connecting with other like-minded veterinarians on social media to see what they're talking about and seeing, are they going to conferences? Who are they linking up with? Because this is how we all learn. We collaborate. And hey, I learned from this institute, or I learned from this doctor. The mastermind that I'm going through right now with, I think it's like a dozen other of us, is from a very sweet veterinarian, Dr. Lily, out in California. She's taking her time, her precious, special time to teach us this. And immersing, and a lot of them are integrative, some of them are fully holistic, some of them are really conventional, but knowing that this is where their clients are wanting them to go, and so they want to stay ahead and they don't want to just blindly recommend. And so also tapping into social media and seeing who are kind of like the go-getters, who are the pace setters, who are the ones that are really talking about these topics too. I think that's really important. And so shadowing vets who maybe are already integrative. So going to the American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association website, going to, and I'm going to say this right. It is Dr. Jill's. It's Regen 031 Vet. It's basically ozone therapy. So Regeno 31 Vet. Hopefully I'm even saying this right. I will drop the link in the show notes for this episode. They have a link on their website that says ozone veterinarians. And so if you're interested, if you're a pet owner listening to this, or you're a vet student and you want to know where can I go shadow, those are great things to link up to. Go to these pages, see where these veterinarians are. Like, hey, do you shadow? Or if you follow them on social media, hey, do you ever take interns? Can I come work with you for 2 weeks over the summer and really immerse myself in this? Do you take volunteers? Do you take extra help over the summer so that maybe their staff wants to travel and they're looking for a vet tech? So I definitely would recommend that. So shadowing those vets who are already practicing it, seeing if there's mentorship opportunities. And sometimes the mentorships are in masterminds. That's what I consider the mastermind I'm in. I'm being mentored by a veterinarian who is steps ahead of me in this. And I love that I get to learn from somebody who is also willing to teach. So attending any conferences that you can link up with, and that's why immersing yourself in just a few of these organizations or a few of these individuals, you find out where they're going, or a few of these companies, Standard Process. And I've known about that company for a long time because my chiropractor uses them on the human side and they have a veterinary line. I didn't know about this until I think it was last year. This year, they have their own conference. And so they have a veterinary part of it. So when you find some of these bigger organizations, especially these companies that are really into educating and well beyond their product, going to those conferences. And so that can really help open up like what you feel comfortable with wanting to learn integrative, functional, holistic, whatever term you want to put on it, to see if it is a fit for you and how much you want to include. If you want to be fully holistic, do you want to be integrative and functional where you pull? Do you want to be conventional, but there's parts of holistic and integrative that you really like? Maybe it's the acupuncture and everything else you want conventional. Maybe it is the food part, is that you get to decide that. Absolutely. Some of these companies who offer supplements, like I'm thinking Real Mushrooms with Dr. Rob Silver, seeing what kind of information they offer. Some of these companies even offer webinars. And yes, at the end, they're going to mention their product to show like, okay, we talked about this and this is how you do it. Many of us are like, okay, what do we use for it? Here's a product. And so it's sometimes to a mindset shift that it's kind of, you're moving away from a cookie cutter protocol driven practice, and it's more root cause and individualized care. And it's individualized based on the patient and based on the pet parent. Being curious and open-minded is a huge part of it as well. And more than likely, if you're wondering where to learn this, you are curious and open-minded. And I will tell you, you don't need to learn everything at once. There's no way to do it. And so I think the biggest thing is finding where you are most curious to learn. Like, is it acupuncture? Because acupuncture can be used for a variety of reasons. Is it nutrition? Nutrition can be used for a variety of reasons. Like, where is that passion rooted? Go there. And then from there, let it evolve into other aspects: herbal, fecal transplants, ozone, food, acupuncture. I mean, there's so much more even to that. UVBI, like like light treatment on blood. I mean, there is so much that can be talked about. And start learning those alongside the conventional side if you're in vet school. Because I think that both of them can play well together. It's just knowing when to use what. And that's going to be based on your beliefs, your preferences, what you've been taught, and your patient. And so they're tools in your toolbox. And knowing when to lean on them. And so you don't have to quit conventional learning. You don't have to quit conventional practice. Again, I really think that the two of them can really lock hands and you can use parts of both. And I think the best thing you can do, especially if you're in vet school listening to this, or you're pre-vet, or you're just out in practice, is networking with them, learning from them, seeing who's willing to teach, because not everyone's willing to teach, and that's okay. Just like not everyone's willing to learn. It's okay. Seeing who's willing to teach, seeing what modalities you can be. Do they have a podcast? That's another great aspect. Podcast. You can search. If you're listening to this, you're interested in podcasts. So I know the College of Integrative Veterinary Therapies, they have a podcast. They interview a lot of different veterinarians. And then from there, you may find other podcasts or YouTubes. And so what I would be cautious about is these CEs that maybe promise too much in a short amount of time. If it is a certification program and they're promising it in a really short amount of time, I would be wary, especially if it's not maybe one of the big known, I don't even want to say companies, but big known avenues. And I think over time, there are going to be more companies and avenues and brands that do offer this kind of training. I do. I think because that's just where we're headed. It is going to take some time. I've been out 11 and a half years, almost 11 and a half years, and I've been in feeling this pull for integrative for years now. Not quite half of my career, but a third of it, and at least over a third of it, and I'm still learning. I have literally a stack of books next to my bed that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this one, but I really want to read this one. It takes time. And why it needs to take time is for you to really evolve it, digest it. And here's the thing is that it's also going to evolve too as we discover more. VDI Labs, they're a great lab. They sometimes offer webinars, CE. Their companies are great that you can call in and talk to them about. They want to help. And so you don't need to know it all to start. There's actually no way that you can. Just pick one door to open and walk through it. And before you know it, there'll be other doors and you get to decide if you want to open them and if you want to walk through them. So as a recap, Chi University, they offer a wide variety of certifications. College of Integrative Veterinary Therapies, the same for them. Feed Real Movement, they offer pet parent education programs and they offer professional programs. I know that, and I didn't know this until I was at the conference for the American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association, that they had vet students there on scholarship. And I guess some of the school chapters have a holistic veterinary medical association chapter there. Look if your school has one. If not, do you want to start one? Reach out to the AHVMA and see, how do I get one started? I'm interested. I have classmates interested. How do we get this chapter going? And then be in connection and communication with your vet school. You get speakers to come in. So I know sometimes this stuff is considered woo-woo, and I sometimes joke that like I think woo-woo. It's not. It is becoming evidence-informed and educated and evolving. So if you feel the pull, follow it. Walk through the door. Pets and pet parents are wanting more of this. Again, I think it's about knowing when is the right, how to tip the scales, because there are sometimes we need conventional and traditional. Sometimes. And I think it's also knowing if we're going to do that, how can we support the pet so that they can have continued health going forward with integrative or holistic options. And I think it's feeling aligned and feeling comfortable with no matter which one you're choosing, that you have that conviction in your heart, because that's what matters the most with that.